Hello everyone, my name is Gabriele and I'm also very excited to be here. My first experience as a presenter at the UXDX. Today I will share the story of how we transform our service delivery model within the Nestlé IT organization to expand our product reach and enhance the UX maturity of our organization. So the key content, this presentation, I will give you more understanding of the Nestlé environment, of what is our mission, how we successfully manage design demand and increase our services at speed, how we even provide UX services at zero cost and reaching any type of team, regardless budget or speed. And finally, I will also conclude by highlighting the efforts on reducing low maturity requests and focusing strategically, maximizing UX value within the organization. But first, let me give you a bit of clarity of the Nestlé size and the environment. So Nestlé is a company with more than 155 years, with more than 2,000 brands worldwide, around 275,000 employees, more than 188 countries where we sell our products, 77 countries, and 94.4 billion group sales in 2022. So to simply put in simple words, Nestlé sells 1 billion Nestlé product every day. And these are the most famous product that you might have recognized. My favorite is definitely Nespresso that I have with me, and Nestlé water, mainly San Pellegrino. Also, a bit of background on the environment here. I would like to provide you a bit of information to make you also the next slide a bit easier to understand. So Nestlé has been undergoing an agile transformation since 2020, which led to the creation of the R team, the UX team. And since 2020, the IT Vision to Life manifesto has consistently emphasized the agile mindset and user centricity as fundamental principles. Then within the IT stream, there are numerous products and product stream, resulting in a high level of diversity, which includes also services, not only products. And lastly, it's important to know that the presentation that I'm going to show you represent the collective efforts of many people in my team, and my role is also here to provide you a glimpse of the amazing work that my team has done. And introducing my team, we are organized in a way that, and we operate in a way that similar to what Niels and Norma describe as a centralized team, as we are the only design team in IT Global, and each member of our internal team is dynamically assigned to one of multiple product developments, with the benefit of, from one side, working a very wide product diversity, but also see UX at high level. So in essence, our team wear a dual hat. From one side, we act as an internal design agency for the most strategic IT products, while we also serve as a gatekeeper of the employee experience across all IT Global products. Therefore, we act also as a sort of center of a design center of excellence, responsible for establishing and maintaining design standards, as well as sharing knowledge and best practices. So now let's have a look at the common request that we received 3 years ago and the problem that they caused. So it was quite common to receive requests such as, I have an interesting project to propose you for next month. Can you assist? And unfortunately, our response would often be something like, sorry, we don't have capacity at the moment. And this situation is sort of example of the typical chargeback drawback, where resources are allocated specifically on time and on budget, and so we cannot help if you are not organized in that way. And so we are limited by the number of people in the team. Another typical scenarios was hearing the statement like, I'm very interested in UX, but we don't have budget. And this was painful to hear because thanks to the agile transformation, there was a growing curiosity about UX within the IT departments, but we couldn't fulfill those needs at that stage. And a third example is a consequence of the agile practice instead, as a negative way. So where product teams are required to deliver continuously and rapidly. In this context, UX was increasingly reduced to merely validating assumption rather than being given the opportunity of, of, of doing our job better. And so in that sense, reduce also our value. As we encounter like these challenges, we realized that this problem did not lie in the request per se from our customers, but rather in our ability to effectively enable and elevate these requests, bringing them into the next level UX maturity. So the question that we receive at the beginning were mainly such as like, what's wrong with my design? Or could you help me comparing two products and tell me which one of the ones provide a better UX? Can you help me telling my customer that my product is good? And at that time, we were asked to provide, the typical approve stamp. But later on, we also realized that the potential of this political impact that our work could have in the organization. So storytelling became an intriguing avenue to explore in these regards. The interesting fact, though, that if the beginning we're asking this sort of like low mature question, the good news that our customer retention rate has been consistently high from the beginning. So after working with some of these initial requests, customers come back to us with different but more mature inquiries. So demonstrating also a greater willingness to incorporate UX methodologies from the start. And this type of quest were like, what do people expect from my product? Why do people struggle with my solutions? How can we effectively design a service with multiple complexities within? So this change in mindset has helped to us to gain more insights in how we have been maturing the UX mindset by performing our job well, but also maintaining an open mindset. And so I share these insights with my team by mapping the most frequent requests, and we noticed that a certain pattern in the UX service needs. So different teams were with varying levels of maturity were going through a sort of overall customer maturity request lifecycle. And yes, please don't take this graph as something statistical or something like, but just like a summary of our internal conversation and considerations. So some teams approach us with requests like, "Can you help me create a logo?" And yes, we had to maintain a professional attitude and say no to most of the time. But there were instances where instead we say yes. And the reason for you say yes is because we saw that moment as an investment for long-lasting relationship. We knew that working with these customers would increase our impact and presence within organizations. So in some cases, we say yes with the intention of explaining and training the customers. So overall, we mapped three different stages: the visual type request, the tactical request, and the strategic request. So in the visual stage, we encounter requests like lower maturity, such as logo design, quick UI fixes. The tactical stage, we found requests related to product comparison, storytelling, and feature design, with the highest level being product design. The third one is the most strategic one, consisted of requests related to product strategy or UX at the high level, involving initiatives or domains across multiple products. So the other interesting aspect is that the quantity of requests was not evenly distributed across the board. So we observed that the majority of the requests fell under the tactical category, while our aims was to prioritize our efforts in the strategic areas as much as possible. So we understood that we had to establish a framework to address the most frequent requests while simultaneously fostering UX maturity within the organization, generating more demand for the strategic initiatives. And so finally, we started building our services around our customer needs and maturity levels. By doing so, we have created capability building plans and guidance for diverse user groups, including enthusiasts and product teams. So this allows us to continuously communicate and engage with the IT community, emphasizing the importance of designing user-centric products and integrating UX methodologies into the product development lifecycle. And then in the second stage, we develop a more flexible on-demand UX service model. This enables any product team to quickly and temporarily add a UX expert to the working group, providing them with the necessary support and expertise. And last, a centralized UX team, we focus our expertise, primarily to the strategic areas. So we supervise and guide execution in other layers, but we ensure that our knowledge and skills are utilized where they can have the greatest impact. So we have a dedicated individual also who continuously work on evolving the UX maturity from both top-down and bottom-up approach. And this person is responsible for elevating UX maturity as end-to-end service within the organization. And by the way, if you're interested in this position, please note that we are currently seeking to this role. So if you are interested, contact me via LinkedIn. You will see how to apply via our portal. So now let's have a look on how we create more flexible services. So to continuously evolve our services and portfolio, we mapped our ambitions and customers into a canvas with three different layers: core, adjacent, and transformation. So this innovation model ensures that our services remain relevant to the company objective and have a significant impact. So simply put, the core is our core business, is Workforce 360, is where we stay in the organization. So we can do incredible things in every other streams, but if we don't make Workforce 360 happy, if we don't create impact here, we don't contribute to the IT objective. Therefore, our stronger efforts and majority of our internal resources are dedicated to this area. So these are the product where we build the intranet, for instance, or the more strategic portals, etc. The adjacent one instead is a layer that consists all the products and services that revolve around Workforce 360. Often these areas are the most important partners and customers, such as HR, finance, procurement, marketing, and sales. And these streams involve the development of numerous digital products and services, but sometimes it can be challenging for us to keep track of every development in this area. And finally, transformation is the layer that reach any corner of the organization, including anything that happened in the markets and the citizen developers community, for instance. So by reaching these layers, it means that we succeed on creating a user-driven organization. And so for each of these layers, we have organized our efforts to ensure that when it comes to creating top-notch Workforce 360 products and services, is managed end-to-end by the core team with assistance of contractors. And in the case of adjacent products, we want to ensure that even if they are not directly designed by us, they are still adhere to the UX standards and values. And to achieve this, we enable our design partners to easily onboard and work on behalf of the UX core team. So how we did that? So we, throughout our pre-aligned cost, they can provide UX services with quality while maintaining the necessary know-how. So before this, we noticed that external design agencies lacked of decision-making power and often focus solely on visualizing business idea without incorporating research and usability testing into the product lifecycle. And on the other hand, this is because the agency wanted to sell their services and continue to working with those customers, which limited the ability of challenge the design process or not helping, maturing the UX mindset with those teams, which is natural, It's like product teams paying for those people. I pay you and you do what I want. And there were kind of like the friction of them challenging that aspect. So by having contractors from our team, they are empowered to have a say and express their opinions without hesitation because we can help them, we can empower them, we can defend their choices based on principles and establish an organization. And lastly, we have recently established a different community of champions. I will also show something about this. And this is because our goal is to bring UX capabilities to product teams, regardless the size of budget availability to anyone. And here's some benefits of why internal services cannot compete with an external agency. I'm telling you this because sometimes people ask me, yeah, what's the difference of going through your services if I can choose also to directly ask to an agency and do whatever I want needs to be designed. So these are some of the points. Selection. Because we are expert in the field, we know who are the good one for that project. So we act as a filter. We select the best ones for each product, reducing the risk of working with unreliable or unqualified contractors. Quality control. We supervise and guide controls. We are the best one that can do that. And so that we make sure that the outcome match with the design standards. Consistency. We ensure consistency at the level across each product. So we make sure that when it comes to find some trade-off between how to use the design system, we help them on still finding that consistency. But we also have in-depth understanding of the organization. So imagine someone coming from outside is new and just jumping on a new project. There's a lot of like know-how lacking and understanding of how the things work. So thanks to what we speed up the process of onboarding people and providing process tools and learning on how to align with organization needs. And so is the know-how. It's not only about know-how organization, but it's also providing previous research on similar data or similar product that can be interesting. But we also provide technology platform, where I will show you a bit later, so we can improve the productivity thanks to technologies such as User-Zoom and Figma. So additionally, thanks to this model of industrializing services, we have included our services in the IT product catalog to increase visibility of the customer. So imagine like product catalog as a sort of supermarket where everyone can stroll and see products and services. This is the way we simplify the packaging of our product and making them understanding what we do better. It doesn't mean that they can just put in the cart what they want, but just like a way of align our UX terminology more in the IT environment and raising more awareness in the product catalog. So now let's talk about how we scale services at zero cost. So to enable the ambition goal of enabling research at zero cost, we had to create an environment to democratize research and design in a sustainable and controlled way. And to do this, we enable two different platforms: User-Zoom, now part of user testing, and Figma. You might think as these as merely tools for productivity and just as a and these are just another example, but we view them as a fundamental platform for scaling research and design across organization. So User-Zoom, along with the consultant services, ensure that research is well understood, well trained, and well executed, and it provides capability at scale, while Figma Enterprise License can supervise design across application and scale design system more efficiently. And here's some example of how we look at platforms compared to the typical the development life cycle. So used Zoom and Figma basically cover all the development life cycle from ideas to deploy, and enable different channels of champions to be empowered with user testing bootcamp, which is a matter of like providing an laboratory experiment for them to learn research capabilities, from enabling QS score, which is one score that measure attitudinal and behavioral data in one score at scale, but also on Figma side, providing empowerment as UI kit library, guidelines, and templates. And still keeping growing and giving like new skills to the organization throughout user testing, university, NovoEd courses, and Figma trainings. And here, a really brief explanation of who are these communities we are building. So from one side, we have the Explorer, which is a selected group of people that will undergo our interns learning program. And so they will be self-sufficient on then creating research and running research. On the other side is the same coin, are the contributors, are the ones willing to share and provide feedback to the IT product owners. And on the other side, we have a new ones, prototypers. They are the ones that are driven to explore new ideas, create user interface, and design that are ready for development. So now, to recap a little bit of what we're saying, and also to showing like how we're focusing on the highest view. So here are a presentation of our strategy in a graph. On one side, we have the three innovation dimension: core, adjacent, and transformation. On the other side, we have a representation of the altitude of impact that we can deliver within the organization, with the street view being the most detail-oriented one, and 30,000 feet being the most strategic one. So in this perspective, the UX core is primarily positioned in the core business, with a stronger presence in high-level initiatives, with closely designed all the key Workforce 360 strategic products. In adjacent dimension, we have contracts through the design partners, focusing on activities ranging from sub-initiative to street view. And lastly, in the transformation dimension, we have UX champion who primarily work on the user story level. And all of these people are empowered by our design platform, which provide governance, scalability, and quick enablement. This platform enables our team to provide what Gartner refers to a total user experience supervision. And so finally, just to close, a bit of numbers, and then I'll leave you for a question. Thanks to this new approach, we see research increase 46% compared to 2022 in 1 year. The demand increased more than 3 times in the last 3 years. The Workforce 360 core product, core business dedicated up to 10% of their budget in UX activities. And we had more than 2,000 people involved on our research, which are impact more also in other adjacent work in HR, marketing and sales, and so on. So thank you very much for listening, and I'm open for question now.
Thank you very much, Gabriella. That was really, really insightful. I love the way you kind of, I was writing down questions and you were answering them as you were going through.
Yeah,
which is always a good
good.
Thing. So yeah, just a reminder to everybody out there, if you have any questions for Gabriella, please do write them in on whichever platform you're watching on. But I have one that I was a little bit unsure about. So you mentioned that you were being over requested, or people were asking for too much, and you just didn't have the capacity for it. And then you mentioned that you were kind of splitting up into your core focus and like kind of train people, and you went into the tools. But are you spending more of your time now on training, or what percentage are you trying to make people be able to self-serve versus doing the work yourself?
Yeah, that's a good question. So majority of the team is focusing not on training, but mainly on really working at the initiative and domain level, at the strategic areas. So we want to focus there. I have 8 people in the team, and basically 7 of them are focusing 99% of their efforts there. I have one person mainly dedicated to the overall picture and making sure that we do have those program running, and these programs are not necessarily run by us. So we have, for instance, we also leverage capability in the organization coming from learning experience team, but also from the consultant from user testing and Figma, that we can reuse what we already have and just reshaping in our program.
Awesome. So you have external help. So is that one person coordinating the effort of other people? Because as you mentioned, you have your user testing, you have your champions, you have your kind of Figma thing. Are they the person who's creating all of that, or is that some other team is helping you out?
We have one person supervising and let's say like guiding the overall strategy on where we want to go in terms of maturing the organization as next level. But then for each of platform, we have, let's say, a product owner that looking at the success metrics and measuring how things are going and providing feedback of the performances. But it's not like a full-time job. It's something like someone acting temporarily and looking at that point of view.
Excellent. And the last one, then, I guess,
Yeah.
are you, or just on this trend of my 3 questions, are you worried that as the maturity goes up, the requests, because as you were saying, as the maturity goes up, the requests become more strategic, that you'll find you'll have a bottleneck again?
Yes, it might happen. Also because we structured the team 3 years ago with a certain type of expertise, you know. So the more we go up, and the more we will need service designers, for instance. And I don't have so many. So the spirit is to remain flexible through design partners. So having really strong relationship with them, a strong way of like managing design requests and become like one team, even though they are like people with a different contract, basically.
Okay, excellent. I just saw a question come in from Oyedatan. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. How does an aspiring UX designer navigate improving weaknesses and join like the UX composer community?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. So we inspire them through different type of activities. So within the communities, we do have different type of engagement. It can be like online. So we have someone in the team dedicated of sharing some new pills of knowledge or opening up a new conversation and having those people having this conversation and sharing. But we also have some events where we gather and we, based on the topic, we have, for instance, like accessibility day, where we talk about accessibility, and depending on the day, we talk about that. But that can be also like scattering depending on the platform. We have conversation and know-how sharing within researchers, within user testing platform. We have conversation in the Figma community, and also sharing like how Nespresso is handling the design system compared to Purina. And we have this conversation and we learn from each other.
Awesome. So I think that's about to bring us to time. And thanks very much for sharing. It was really great to get an insight into the journey that you're on. And actually, where do you see yourself going? What do you think the future holds for your kind of transformation?
You know, we didn't mention AI, right? So that's the first presentation without AI, and this is really disruptive, very likely. Let's see. I think with AI also we will see ourselves more and more in the governance perspective, in becoming the center of design, design center of excellence, more than directly being involved in any design execution. And so that role, I think it will be for us our transformation as next.
Excellent. It's always an exciting one, AI.
Yes, also scary, but yes.
Well, thank you once again, Gabrielle. I hope everybody out there enjoyed it as much as I did.
Thank you.